For Startup Week, I'm Tammy Dorr, President and CEO of the Downtown Denver Partnership and co-chair of Denver Startup Week. This year marks the 10-year anniversary of Denver Startup Week. DSW has been the catalyst for lots of change over the past decade, and this week we're coming together to celebrate the past and dream big for the future. We are able to bring Denver Startup Week to this community thanks to our 2021 sponsors. Thank you to our HQ and title sponsor, Amazon, and our title sponsors whose leadership makes this week come to life. Capital One Cafe, Downtown Denver Partnership, Fluid Truck, Hotel Engine, and WeWork. And our track sponsors who have made all of the great content you're hearing today possible, our founder track sponsor, Kickstart, growth track sponsor, Friday Health Plans, developer track sponsor, Quizlet, product track sponsor, Palantir, our designer track sponsor, Battery 621, and the Public Works, people track sponsor, Exactly, and spotlight event sponsor, Strat Labs. Our headline event sponsors are bringing the excitement to the week. Thank you to B-Side Fund, Colorado Public Radio, Comcast, Coors Brewing, Denver Pavilions, Entrepreneurship at the University of Denver, JP Morgan Chase, Method, Moss Adams, Pi Insurance, Promontory Mortgage, Path, Southwest, Tattered Cover, and VF Venture Foundry. Finally, thank you to our partner and member sponsors, all listed on the screen. Please say thank you to these companies as you enjoy our hybrid Denver Startup Week. And don't forget, use the hashtag DenStartupWeek to share your experiences and moments of inspiration on social media. Have a great week.
Hello, I'm Sal Gentili, CEO of Friday Health Plans, and we're proud to sponsor the growth track this year at Denver Startup Week. We're a company that just entered a rapid growth phase, so we felt it was particularly appropriate. When my business partner and I started Friday Health Plans 5 years ago, we knew we wanted to create a company that catered to people who bought their own health insurance. The Affordable Care Act was just getting going, and we saw an opportunity to serve a brand new market of health insurance consumers. Independent consultants, startup groups, gig workers, service industry workers, designers, creators, and other independent professionals, like many of you here today. We knew that if we built a health plan that was simple to buy, easy to use, had great customer service, and most of all was affordable, we could compete against the big insurance plans who only focus on serving big companies. After spending 5 years getting into the Colorado market and completing a successful proof of concept, we successfully closed a $50 million round of growth funding earlier this year. We're now about to expand to 3 additional states later this year, hire more than 400 employees to support our growth, and eventually be in more than 10 states by 2025. I wish each of you good luck in your startup and growth pursuits. And as you think about your upcoming health insurance needs, I hope you consider fellow growing startup Friday Health Plans. Open enrollment starts November 1st. Check us out at fridayhealthplans.com.
Hello everyone, welcome to Denver Startup Week. I'm Jake Cohen, the Growth Track Chair and member of the Denver Startup Week Organizing Committee. Thank you for joining us for the 10th anniversary of Denver Startup Week. At Denver Startup Week, we strive to make all of our sessions a space where attendees can connect, learn, and grow. Regardless of age, gender identity, gender expression, race, ability, or sexual orientation. A special thank you to our sponsors for their support in helping us to keep Denver Startup Week free and accessible for all. Thank you for joining us and have a great week.
You're muted, Katie.
You know, for all of the Zoom meetings I've done through the pandemic, I still either forget to share my screen or unmute myself. But anyways, thank you all for attending today and welcome to the second day of Denver Startup Week. Today, I'm going to talk to you about delivering value when you are disrupting an industry and launching new products to some of the world's largest companies. So who am I? I'm Katie Mock, and as of yesterday, I am the Director of Enterprise Client Management at Skupos. I've been here for about 2 years, but it was kind of an exciting move for me. As we've kind of seen clients over the last year going from 4 pilot clients all the way up to 15 live clients. And it's truly been an incredible journey, and I've learned a lot that I can share with you all today. And also a little bit further of my background is in psychology and neuroscience. So I likely learned a lot more about our clients over the last year than they really wanted me to. And before we dive in, one question I always get is, what the heck is Skupos? On the enterprise side of our house, we're a data provider that gives large CPG companies, think like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Hershey, Cliff Bar, so on, visibility into the highly fragmented convenience store space. And we also give those same brands a new capability to deploy promotions back into that same fragmented market. So what are we going to be talking about for the next 20 minutes? Most people end with a big reveal, but I'm going to start with it today. And then we're going to dive right into the race to disruption with a few tips and tricks to help you reach your own podium. And if you haven't noticed already, I talk about as quickly as Skupos adds enterprise clients, so there will be plenty of time for Q&A. We'll do it at the end, and I'll use that Q&A box, so please drop any questions in there, and I'll check it once we get to that last slide. So let's kick things off. What is the number one secret to growing your business? It's investing in your greatest assets. What are your greatest assets? They're your team and your clients. Specifically on your client side of things, your success team is going to be that single biggest value that you will provide to your future clients. A lot of times when I meet someone, even a coworker at the same company, they'll ask me what it is that my team actually, does. And my answer is always the same. It's really, what don't they do? There are days or even hours of the day where they are a relationship builder, a support rep, a product researcher, a marketer, a teacher, a therapist, and the list goes on. There's no single role that your team will play, and that's why they are so valuable. And your success team is going to be the glue and the duct tape that hold things together, especially when you're just getting started. So I can't understate the importance enough of investing in and valuing your success team. There's a strong link between the value provided to your clients and the value of the people providing it. If you build a team that believes in your company mission and feels valued in their job, it's going to be contagious to your clients. And your second biggest asset is really your clients, because they pay you money. So you should probably pay attention to them. And now I know what you're all thinking. Wow, Katie, this is some really groundbreaking information. But there are 2 key points I want to surface on this. The first is that there are real people and not just pieces of paper that you're surfacing. So it's incredibly important for your organization to stay rooted in the reason you are in business, and should always focus on the true needs of your clients and not just the requirements of a particular contract. And I want to repeat that last bit, just in case someone wasn't paying attention. You should always focus on the true needs of your client and not just the requirements of a particular contract. Fulfilling a need versus checking off a task list will nearly always result in a higher renewal rate. And the second key point is to build a customer-centric culture across your organization from the very, very beginning. A race team is not just a driver and a mechanic. There are a ton of people involved every step of the way, and things wouldn't work so well if one person was painting a new design on the car when the driver actually needed a new helmet, or if the travel coordinator is telling the car delivery team that the race is on the West Coast instead of the East Coast. While a new paint job in the West Coast might be cool, they aren't what the team needs or where they need to be at least yet anyways. And things will get messy, especially as you're sorting out the product, developing your sales process, and everything else that goes into a startup. When all the small things go right and you are delighting your clients in all of your interactions, it's easier for them to stick with you when the larger things are getting a little harder. Okay, so now that I've spilled the secrets early, how do you put it all together and get to that finish line? So first, you need to select your driver. As I mentioned, this team is going to be your single biggest value you will provide to your clients. So how do you ensure you hire the right people? First, you need to start early. If you notice, a couple slides back, probably about 30 seconds ago, that I said future clients, and that really wasn't a typo. You should hire for client success before you have your first client, full stop. You need to have someone planning for success to ensure success. And hiring early will help to alleviate these fire drills as you onboard and service your first clients, and your other teams can be prepared for what's to come and more proactive and reactive in nature. The most important quality I look for when I'm hiring for a customer success role is emotional intelligence, or EQ. This team is really going to understand when to press the gas with your clients and also when to press the brakes. They're going to pick up on all the small signals and know how to drive things forward when there really isn't a road in sight, which happens all the time when you are launching new products. One of the things I always talk about internally at Scoopos, and I apologize if any of my coworkers are on because they hear me on my soapbox all the time, is our clients' perception of reality and value. At the end of the day, it does not matter what I think, our sales rep thinks, our product team thinks, or even our C-suite thinks. It matters how our clients perceive it. We had a pilot client last year whose metrics looked amazing, and all of our internal teams were really excited, but the client just wasn't impressed. And it's in those moments that you really need client success. Our team was able to dig in and find the root of the issues and help surface some solutions to the client and help them find the value. Ultimately, this client was willing to give it another go. And these second chances don't happen without a success team that has a high EQ. So during the interview process, I find it's helpful to ask everyone's favorite, tell me about a time when questions. And really, there's no right or wrong answer to these, but I always look for candidates that can show a couple of things. First, I want to see that they're aware of their own and other people's emotions. I also want to see that they can recognize and regulate their own behavior and manage their emotions to adapt to different environments. Enterprise clients are difficult. There's a ton of different personalities in the room at all times, and you need to be able to adjust on a dime and not get your feathers ruffled. You need to be able to sit there and kind of let everyone else kind of squirm a little bit when things are uncomfortable and still do your job. And right behind EQ, I look for efficiency and adaptability. This team is going to have to work hard to produce value as quickly as possible with as few resources as possible. It's extremely difficult. And each week may look different from the last one. Enterprise clients tend to be very, very high touch. They all have quick turnaround times. They're pretty demanding and they're all pretty fair. But when you stack them on top of each other and you start expanding your client base, you need a team that is consistently looking for ways to streamline and still provide value and top tier service across a variety of accounts at the same time. So in the interview process, I like to ask again, tell me about a time when. This time, it's tell me about a time that you took the time, which is a mouthful, to create a long-term solution versus executing a quick task. So it's very common in client management to try and complete everything as quickly as possible. You're trying to put out as many fires, answer as many emails, get on as many client calls, and just do all that you can all the time. But you need a team that's forward-looking and knows when to slow things down and take the time to create a process, even if it's just simply generalizing and templatizing their work so you can use it across multiple clients versus quickly sending something off to a client. And ultimately, the time to value for new products can be quite lengthy. And this department's job is to provide a great experience along the way, even with the ups and through a lot of the downs. So you want a team that makes clients feel like they just had a 15-minute delay to their dream destination versus feeling like they were in the back of a van on a 20-hour drive to a family vacation. Now that you know how to find your drivers, we need to get you on the track. But when there is no track, how do you know you're on the right track? First, you should give success a seat at the table. You can't always have your clients in all of your internal meetings, and to be very honest, you don't always want to. So your success team is going to be your next best thing. Day in and day out, they're tasked to balance your business goals and the client goals. And they're such a valuable voice. So you should not leave them at the kids' table. I've sat in countless meetings in my career, and I'm sure many of you have, where the company releases this brand new, shiny product roadmap, but it just has a laundry list of items that are tailored towards the squeaky wheel clients, because that's all of those people here. And then 6 months later, you sit down in another meeting and your leadership team is wondering why most of your clients still aren't happy. You need a voice for all of your clients in that room whenever and wherever you can. And fixing and innovating. I think this part goes without saying. Your team needs to fix issues and create new features and functionality to stay competitive in the market. But you can really leverage your client management team here to understand the size of the problems your clients are facing, the impacts of the improvements you are kind of deciding on, and they can also help you prioritize kind of looking at bigger, longer term strategic moves or one-off fixes and fire drills for specific clients based on the state of that client today. And there are also a lot of times where you can lean on a client manager to calm your clients down, reduce their pain or their perception of it, and provide some reassurance while your product teams work on fixes or larger impact projects. And this is especially true as you get started. And give your team a lot more time to see if that client pain is really isolated just to that one client, or if you're going to see it across your entire client base as you continue to grow. And if it is something that is kind of on the latter side of things, you can look at how you can innovate from that and delight your other and future clients. It doesn't necessarily need to fix that client's exact pain point, but if it's touching on a kind of a common theme that across most of your clients you might see, it's really a great opportunity to build something early. And then lastly, like every business, you do need to track metrics and KPIs. And these are incredibly difficult when you're first building. And when you're first disrupting an industry and doing something new, you can't always rely on your clients to know what they need or know what's important to them. It's kind of like asking a toddler what they want for dinner. So you really need to double click in and show them more than the obvious. So one example that we had at Scoopos was one of our products allows clients to deploy promotions to consumers like you and I. So of course, our brands want to see how many people utilize it, but there are deeper metrics. Our technology only gives that discount when a consumer also puts in a phone number. So think about your Walgreens or your King Soopers when you go to checkout, nothing comes off until you type in that phone number. So when we launched, clients told us they wanted to see redemption rates, how many times people use this coupon essentially, which was fair, but it was really only providing half of the picture. So we proactively took things a step further and also showed them buying behavior. So if you talk to Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Hershey, and some of these other CPGs, they'll always tell you the consumer has two hands. So both should be filled with their products. So when we did the final reports, it was okay to see that 20% of consumers were activating their discount, but it was more impactful when we showed them that their basket size, remember those hands, shifted, and they saw nearly 10% more of 2-item baskets being purchased. And then lastly here, this is especially true early on, remember to set realistic goals. So I'm not really a racer myself, more of a runner and a slow runner, not in anything competitive. So we'll use a running example here. If you're a marathon coach, you're going to set different goals for your different runners. At the end of the day, everyone that you are coaching wants to cross that finish line, but they won't cross it all at the same time, and their training is going to look quite different. And this applies to business too. All of your clients are going to use different strategies and do things in their own time. We often forget that clients have other things going on, especially during the pandemic. A lot of our CPG clients couldn't get product on the shelves or couldn't get resin to make the plastic to put their products in. So while there's things that are very important to us, they just don't have the time to do it yet. And the important thing is that they finish, and it's not always how they get there. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today was pits and podiums. So a couple of pieces of advice for when things are going good and also not so good. So the first is to dig in, and really you need to dig into both your failures and your wins. And you should really never be complacent. What led to those wins or to those losses? And what micro areas can you adjust? There should always be a lesson to learn, something to tweak, and a path to grow. And you should embrace a relentless consistency in identifying these opportunities for improvement, from the good situations as well as the bad. And as a reminder, pit stops aren't always a race ender. In the Indy 500, racers typically take 7 pit stops. And I'm sure everyone has seen a video or seen it live about how fast these crews can change tires or make small changes and get the drivers back on the track. These stops are nearly perfectly choreographed routines because they plan for them to happen. So you can take that same logic to your client journey, especially if you listened to me earlier and already have a customer-centric organization. And then churn. No one ever likes to talk about this, and young and new companies are always terrified of it. It's not fun. I'm not a fan. I've lost clients that I really thought I would never lose. And it's always an awful feeling that never gets better when you have to tell your boss someone is leaving. But it's also a fact of life. Race car drivers sometimes podium, sometimes they finish in the middle, and sometimes they just crash right into the guardrails. So again, the earlier you accept this and plan for it, the better off you're going to be. And then lastly, take time to celebrate those wins, and not just with clients, with your whole team. If you make everyone feel like they were part of the success, you will continue to amplify that client-centric mindset throughout your company. And soon you'll find you'll easily be delighting your clients along the way. I told you I talk real fast, so we do have about 9 minutes. So you can ask me questions on here. I'll pull up the Q&A here in just a second. You can also reach out to me directly. I don't mind if people email me on my work email. I love talking about customer success all day long, or you can find me on LinkedIn and message me there. Let me get the Q&A. Looks like we don't have too many questions, which everyone can go to lunch early if we don't. I'll give it another minute or two if you want to hop on, but feel free to hop off or feel free to email me or toss something in the Q&A. Oh, that's a great question. What drew me to client management? I actually started in sales, which was kind of funny, but I really like the relationship building side of client management. As I mentioned, my background is in psychology and neuroscience. So I really like kind of figuring out what makes people tick and how to make them the most successful in anything that they're doing. So it was just kind of a natural progression over from sales to client management. Thanks, Jamie. Ooh, what are my other favorite parts of the job? This is a great week to ask this because I actually am hopping on a plane after this to go to Chicago to meet with our clients at NACS. And that's really just the face-to-face time with clients and getting to know people and getting to know their business and things like that. Pre-pandemic, we were able to tour a lot of the facilities for the CPGs, and it's just really fun to kind of see how the products that you see every day on shelves are made. So specifically at Scoopos, that's one of my favorite parts. Awesome. Well, I'll stick around for a couple more minutes, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to stick on. I'll stay on as long as you guys are. All right, nothing more is coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and drop and take myself to lunch early. See you guys later. Have fun the rest of the week.